Welcome to the Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs podcast, a place for podcasters to learn what's actually working in the world of podcasting and how to use their podcast to generate consistent leads in their business. I'm your host, Jenny, and I'm so excited you're here. Hey Savvies, welcome back to another episode of Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs. In today's episode, we're chatting about 5 mistakes you're probably making with your podcast. Before we dive in, I did want to mention my free masterclass, how to make money from your podcast without relying on ad sponsorships. Because contrary to popular belief, ad sponsorships are not the only way to monetize your podcast. So if you want to sign up for that free class, head to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/free and grab your free seat today. And let's jump into the episode. Whether you're brand new to podcasting or you've been podcasting for a while, you may be making some of the 5 mistakes that I'm about to dive into. You may not, but chances are you're making at least one of these mistakes. So let's get into it. So mistake number 1, lack of clear direction. So many people come up with this amazing podcast idea and they run with it, but they don't do the work beforehand to make sure that their show is going to be 100% aligned with their offerings. Your podcast should go hand in hand with your business and not work against you. And I've seen so many people make this mistake and then they drop off the face of the planet with their podcast because it's not aligned with their business, which totally makes sense. But you want to make sure that it is like completely aligned with your business before you even hit record. And it doesn't need to take years to do this, but just make sure that you have this direction first. Like that's the main thing you need, is to have a really good direction, a really clear connection to your show. Mistake number 2, not showcasing your expertise. So even if you host an interview style podcast and you don't do solo episodes whatsoever, your show should still showcase your expertise. If you're not doing solo episodes right now, consider adding some solo episodes or offer more of your own input during your guest episodes so that your audience knows that you have authority in your space. Because it's important to showcase your guests, but you're putting all this time and effort into the podcast, so you need to be seen as an expert as well. Mistake number 3, inconsistent posting schedule. You can't show up only when you feel like it and expect the same results as you would get if you were showing up consistently. So consistency is important when it comes to podcasting, as we know. Set a schedule and stick to it because your loyal listeners are counting on you. They want to hear from you each and every week, every other week, or whatever that schedule may be. Make sure that you are showing up for them. Otherwise, you're going to lose out on a lot of people because you're not consistent. And being consistent is so easy. You can easily batch record episodes. There's so many ways you can stay consistent without burning yourself out. So definitely be consistent and don't have a super random and inconsistent posting schedule. It's not going to do anyone any good. Mistake number 4, not utilizing other podcasts. So a big way that I have grown my own show and my clients have grown their shows is by being on other people's podcasts and sharing a little about my own podcast throughout the episode. So this allows you to get in front of new audiences, share your expertise on whatever your topic that you're passionate about. And honestly, it's just where I've seen the most growth from my own podcast with that, and also with utilizing Pinterest, which is a topic for another day. But I definitely think being a guest on other people's podcasts is really beneficial because it not only positions you as an expert, but it also gets people over to your show, which is crucial. And then mistake number 5, our last mistake, is not using strategic ad placements. So I don't advocate for monetizing your show with sponsorships that pay pretty much pennies on the dollar. Instead, I recommend inserting your own self-hosted ads within your episodes because these will have more impact on your business at the end of the day. And the masterclass I mentioned at the beginning of this episode will help you do just that. If you want to learn how to use strategic ad placements, definitely head to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/free and sign up for the free masterclass so you can learn how to use these strategic ad placements. But yeah, those are the 5 mistakes you're probably making with your podcast. You may be making some, all. I'd be surprised if you weren't making at least one of these mistakes, even as a seasoned podcaster. But yeah, that is pretty much it for today's episode. You can check out the show notes for this episode by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com and connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Jenny Sunneson, so JennySunneson. I love getting in the DMs with you guys and chatting with you. So I'd love to connect with you there. I did stop my Wednesday weekly clubhouses just because of the snowstorm that we had. My son is now located in our media room, which has no door. So doing any clubhouses or anything that involves me talking at night is really tough, but I definitely plan to come back with those in a couple months once his room is all fixed and I can start doing my normal stuff at night again. But yeah, thank you for your patience. And for the time being, I'd love to connect with you on Instagram and chat with you there. So yeah, I will see you guys in the episode next Thursday.
If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast player like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Stitcher and leave a review. You can find us at savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com and on Facebook at Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs and Instagram at Savvy Podcasting. Make sure to join our free Facebook community for podcasters by going to savvypodcastingforentrepreneurs.com/community and join in on the exclusive community just for Savvy Podcasting for Entrepreneurs listeners. I'll see you there.